Okie dokie. Now let's go ahead and start the fraud microservice. And let's also start the customer microservice. So I'm going to start both. So fraud is up and running. Now customer, just give it a second. And there we go. So they are both up and running. Now what I'm going to do is let me open up Postman again in here. So I still have the Jamila payload, and I'm just going to send this request. So again, this is post to customer 8080 API v1 and then customers, send, and check this out. So we have a 200 status code. Now at this point, let me just open up PG admin, and in here let's basically check the customer database as well as fraud, just to make sure that the request did work. So in here, let me just refresh everything. So refresh and open up customer. So in here, right click and then open up query tool, and then say select star from and then customer. And if you run this query, have a look, we have Jamila Ahmed in here. So this is cool. And by the way, if you have duplicates, that's fine because I've deleted the previous record. Now here, let me open up the fraud database, right click, and then I'm going to say query tool on that as well. And here I'm going to say select star from, and then the table name was, so within schemas, so tables, we have fraud check history. So fraud check and then history. And then if I run this request in here, check this out. So it indeed worked. So this was the timestamp. This is the customer ID. You can see that this is one, which corresponds to this one, which is Jamila right here. And in here, so you can see that Jamila, she's not a fraudster. So there you have it. So you can see that we've managed to have our microservices talk to each other. Now, one thing that I want to do is just to add some logging. So inside of fraud controller in here, I'm going to add at and then S LA for J, and then I'm going to say log dot and then info, and here I'm going to say fraud check request for customer, and then in here I'm going to pass the customer ID. So there we go. So I just want some logging so that I don't have to check the databases that often. And let's make sure that we have one on customer as well. So customer controller, and indeed we have the logging in here.